And we are live. Happy Saturday morning. What a green day in cryptocurrency. It's crazy. It's amazing. I'll show you how beautiful it is. I'll show you how amazing it is. You know, some people look outside and they see the sun. And they're like, what a beautiful day. Take it in. Breathe it in. What a gorgeous day. Right? But me, what I do, I look at this. I look at this. $2.22 Cardano. How's it going, sweet coin? Sweat coin. Sorry, buddy. How's it going, buddy? Yeah, but $2.22 for Cardano. This is what I look like for in a good day. This is a good day for me. Actually, now a couple of weeks ago, I actually mentioned Cardano. How's it going, everyone? I think so, buddy. And I saw your comment. Sorry, there's a lot of comments that tend to be scams. Like I have to sift through them, and I don't have time to like reply to everyone else. It's becoming a mess. How's it going, Redbeard? How's it going, man? No, I do remember you from way back in the day. But yeah, Cardano is crazy. $2.22. This has been glorious. Now we've talked about Cardano, and I did say as long as Bitcoin continues on its tear, then Cardano can reach back to its all-time high, which again, there's that line that we drew in that video. Haven't deleted it. And, you know, I'm lazy. I don't clean my own stuff. You know what I mean? So I didn't clean up after my chart analysis there. How's it going, Vapor? How's it going, Canadian? Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful, beautiful Saturday morning. Crypto market is doing extremely well. We'll go through some news, go through some charts, take any questions, and then anything else, give you a general update of what's going on. For the first one, Bitcoin or XRP, sorry, we're talking about XRP, and a lot of people don't like XRP, but screw ya, I like it. It's my number one holding. It's doing pretty well right now, being XRP is $1.20. So XRP closing in higher than Bitcoin on this meteoric rare phenomenon. So I'm assuming what they mean higher, I'm assuming by percentage closed, which yes. Now that being said, of course altcoins are going to close at a higher percentage than something like Bitcoin. Now that being said, I'm interested to know what the ROI is. I think the ROI for XRP might be larger than Bitcoin at this point, just because it's at such a high price right now and it's been suppressed. So over the last year, for example, it was pretty low to the SCC FUD and everything else. So right now, the XRP yearly is at 312%, while Bitcoin's ROI, we'll take a look at that, 296%. So currently, XRP has a higher ROI than Bitcoin on the 1 year. You guys can chirp me for having XRP on my portfolio, but there you go. I mean, like, listen, I'm not like super, like, I am super bullish, but like at the same time, I'm not a maximalist. I have Bitcoin, I have Ethereum, I have Cardano, I have Polkadot, I have a bunch of other tokens. Yeah, absolutely. Drop a like. Really appreciate it, guys. Really would appreciate that. So obviously there's a lot of stuff happening. Now, this is very common. Typically people learn this pretty quick on when Bitcoin does go on a tear, and not just Bitcoin. We also had Ethereum go on a similar just swing up crazy. I'm assuming a lot of it had to do with the London hard fork, of course, but at the same time, gas fees are still up there in price. So this is like, more or less it's just going on the rise. It's going on the hype. And when these tokens do pump, money starts flowing into other projects like Cardano, like XRP. So first is the high cap, mid cap tokens, and then after that will come the micro caps, and it kind of goes through a cycle. We even see BNB sitting at $410. KSM still pretty low at 272. But I'd probably say still a buy. Same with Polkadot too. Polkadot only being at $22. And there's another example of me not cleaning up after myself and not clearing up my circle that I wrote. VeChain is a really good project. I'm not upset at you for that. I do like me some XRP, but I mean, like, everyone's like, it's your personal decision, right? VeChain has actually gone on a tear. It's nice to see VeChain back up to 13 cents. VeChain is obviously like, VeChain's been an incredible investment. I wonder what the 1 year for VeChain is, because it's probably astronomical if you look at it. I remember buying VeChain, I want to say at a cent. I'd have to like really dig deep because I bought VeChain way back. I think I just put like a couple $100 in. So the 1 year for VeChain is 568% right now. So really good for VeChain. Yeah, actually before the pump, when did I get into? So back in early 2020. Okay, so probably around, let's see. Yeah, I'd probably say around August. So yeah, roughly a cent is when I entered VeChain. So a huge rise from that point, but the 1 year is pretty. I can't believe it. I can't actually believe that I've been investing in cryptocurrency for over a year now, or almost over a year. Yeah, interesting. But crazy developments going on for all cryptocurrency, the entire crypto market. Bitcoin is coming up to the weekly close. So just to reiterate on that, because we talked about that on the video as well, that Bitcoin is coming up to its close, which should be happening in the next day and 9 hours. Again, it could be another weekly green candle. And again, we have a big line of support of being above the 20. Oh, sorry, I changed this. I was doing it in an example here, but this is supposed to be the 20-week SMA. So if you do look at the 20-week SMA, we are clearly above it on this candle. As long as this candle can close above the 20-week, it most certainly is a bullish indicator for Bitcoin and where Bitcoin's going to go. So what's my prediction on ETH this cycle? Honestly, I think ETH can hit 10K. I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility, to be honest. I've discussed, actually, it's funny because here's my 10K line right here. And 10K seems like an arbitrary number. I get that. It does seem like an arbitrary number. But you have the deflation rate. So actually, it could be a little bit more than 10K. Maybe we see $14,000, $15,000. You have the deflation rates with the London hard fork and everything else that's happening within Ethereum. If you look at the market cap, I think the market cap last time I took a look was north of $300 billion, $380 billion as of today, according to CoinGecko. So still roughly half of what Bitcoin is, a little bit less than what half Bitcoin is, but still a healthy amount. Now, I do think that the total crypto market can reach $10 trillion by the end of the market cycle. So with that in mind, consider what everything is, and then, ratio in how that other $8 trillion would be distributed depending on the projects. That's basically what you're doing in this market. You're investing and making strategic bets on certain cryptocurrencies that possibly could garner a higher market share than it has right now, and especially if it goes up. That's why in my investment theory, I wouldn't look at Dogecoin as a good ROI. Is Dogecoin going away at all? Are people not going to make money out of Dogecoin? I mean, like, there are Dogecoin millionaires, you know what I mean? I can't take that away from people. But is the ROI going to be as good as something maybe down below, like, say, sub 50, right? Now, of course, you get higher risk when you go down here. And of course, you can just lessen your risk by adding more Bitcoin, more Ethereum, more Cardano, more Polkadot. I know a lot of people don't like XRP. I would say XRP is just a risk for people that don't understand it. But anyone that truly understands what XRP is and how it can onboard the financial legacy system, they get why you invest in XRP. ETH is a great token. So all of my Ethereum is locked up. I have it all being staked right now, so I can't access any of my ETH. I think I have like a little bit unlocked, but I usually just use it to facilitate fees and whatnot on my MetaMask. Bitcoin's off-chain data points are showing a more upward momentum. And again, we've been talking about this. I mean, like, Bitcoin isn't slowing down, which is good. As long as Bitcoin can keep on this trajectory and get back above the 52,000 mark, hold above the 20-week SMA, I think we're looking good for Bitcoin. We'll take a look at what data that they have here. Yeah, so I read this earlier that they were believing with the exchange outflows that the Bitcoin could reach 50,000. I think one analyst said as soon as Friday. Now, obviously, Friday's come and gone. It is Saturday morning, and there's no $50,000 Bitcoin. But what's good to see, right? Because Bitcoin is like, if we look on the daily, Bitcoin's down, I believe. Yeah, so Bitcoin's down on our daily. But usually when Bitcoin's down, everything else goes down. But you see that that's not what's happening. Bitcoin's down because people that invested in Bitcoin are now running off, or people are taking profits from Bitcoin and moving it into altcoins. So it's all staying within the crypto market. So the market itself isn't overtly down. You have a lot of tokens that are pumping. Actually, the market is kind of down roughly 1%. But again, we have Cardano sitting at $2.21. We have XRP at $1.20. We have Ethereum at $32.65. So there is a lot of health in the market. It's just, where is that health being put right now? So where do you stake it? So you can stake it easily on Kraken, or you can join a stake node with 32 ETH. So those are the two ways. I'm with Kraken just because it was easier, and it's locked up until ETH 2.0 comes out. So just be sure that you're like ready to hodl for the long term, because if you lock it up, you have no liquidity unless you're in the United States. I think Kraken has a token that you can trade your locked ETH, your ETH 2.0 for regular ETH. But I think that's only for United States users. I don't think that exists for anything like us in Canada or anything like that. So I think so. Am I still DCAing DOT? I'm not. No. So I probably cut it off at around $18 is when I stopped. And if you remember back in like this range, like when I was talking about like a $20 DOT was a little bit too much for me to stomach. I still agree with that, but that's just because of where I bought DOT, right? Now I wouldn't say that if you're not happy with your bag, just DCA, right? Just keep DCAing. Don't worry about the price. I'm bullish on where it's going to go. These are my numbers for this cycle. So again, a $308 billion market cap. That's in the Polkadot video if you haven't checked that out. That's a total of $280 maximum that I think it can get to, which is just shy of Ethereum's current market cap. The more realistic numbers that I put out was the $100 Polkadot and then the $150 Polkadot, and explaining how these market caps can be achieved. But either way, like if you look at that, like the difference of a $20 Polkadot and a $100 Polkadot, it's huge. So you can still DCA here and still be happy. I just shifted, right? So now that it's reached kind of like that $20 mark, and again, I was buying Polkadot, like I was DCAing all down in the $4 mark all through this bear market thing. So adding more Polkadot when I could readjust some of my portfolio values and add into other tokens that I'm also bullish on is beneficial as well. So Yoshi's Vision token. I have no idea what that is. Can you drop the ticker in chat and I'll pull that up while we're waiting for Vapor there to drop the ticker. In Cardano news, so if Cardano gets it right, we could still see a rally of a couple 100% or after. So I've discussed this right now. We got a couple of things that they're discussing in this article. One, they're saying that the testnet, and I'm sure that's garnering value, of course. Now, a lot of this again is baked into the price. Now, why do I say that? Well, Alonzo isn't technically out. We don't technically have dApps coming out. Like nothing's really changed, but you can see the pump, right? Now, with something like ADA, it has a lot of support at the levels because it trades sideways for so often and it holds such a high amount. And that's the beauty of a Cardano. So when it does drop, when the market does drop, it doesn't drop as severely. You can see that Cardano has wanted to make a move up constantly and hasn't been able to until finally Bitcoin started going down. And Ethereum started going down. Now Cardano feels free to, okay, I'm just going to do my thing. And we see that with the ADA ETH. And again, this is me not cleaning up my TA. But again, with ETH, we discussed this drop that we had all the way to the bottom and then the breakout. And obviously that breakout is continuing. So even though we didn't see that within the actual price chart for USD, we do see that in the ETH valuation. Now, you also see that in Bitcoin, but at a much bigger scale. It is actually almost hitting all-time highs for ADA Bitcoin. So is it smart to Well, like a lot of people would probably look at this and be like, okay, maybe start taking profits from ADA going into Bitcoin. Possibly, I think it could go higher. I think it could go much higher in this valuation, especially if you look at this spike. But incredible about what's happening. But yeah, I agree that a lot of the news is probably contributing to that. But also, there's been a lot of pressure and support to go up on that. Am I mining in? I passively mine on my PC. So I just mine Ethereum. Okay, let's take a look at that. No worries, no worries. Yeah, so I passively mine on my PC. I have made back at least the graphics card. So at least the GPU I've made back. But it's yeah, it's, I mean, like I'm lucky. So I passively mine. There's a couple of things that you should know as a miner in Canada. One, for taxes, anyone that like mines as a hobby, it's not taxable. I believe that once you like sell it for an asset or something, or sell it later on down the road, that's taxable as capital gains. But what you get initially isn't taxable, just because it's a hobby, right? So, but if you're doing it like business scale, I mean, like obviously you're getting taxed. And I like the apartment that I'm in, that I rent in, I don't pay hydro. So I'm basically just siphoning from nothing. I'm not paying any hydro costs. All of that is pure profit for me. So screw my building. And that it is what it is. So wrong one there. Okay, let's take a look. Yoshi's Vision, got it. Okay. Is it Roshi or Yoshi? That's gonna take some time. This is a Shiba clone. This is a Shiba clone, isn't it? This is a Shiba clone. You and your sheep, and your bone and everything else. Look at you. Okay, I'm gonna have to. So this is on Shiba Swap. This is another one that like you've been telling me to check out. Now the only thing that I normally, and I can't shit on this because like look at that ROI, 147%. The only reason I don't like a lot of these tokens is because the circulating supply. It's so much. What is that? Is that quadrillion or trillion? There's too many zeros for me to like register what that is. I think that's trillion. I think that's 1 trillion. But that's a huge pump. That's a huge pump. But like also you got to factor in how low the market cap is too, right? Because the market cap is sitting at let's see, that's trading volume. Question on the market cap. So not quite sure. Probably not being calculated correctly on CoinGecko. But huge rise, and it did come out. So also be careful on any tokens that are just released, because what will happen is you'll get the big pump and then the decline. That's actually similar to what happened with Polkadot. So I'd be interested to know like when this all came out. So it seems fairly new. But what I would do is with any token that comes out, like I'll use Polkadot as an example, and not saying that Polkadot and this token are in any order the same. I just think the Polkadot chart represents best what I'm trying to display, at least with a launch and a decline. I guess it doesn't. Yeah, I guess it still does. So with Polkadot, what we saw was a huge run up. And a bleed out, right? So you see it launch, pumps right up, and then a huge bleed out, and then an extended bleed over time. That's typically what you'll see with most tokens like that. Yeah, you know what? I've looked into a little bit of Virgo. I don't actually own any, and I feel like no, that's the wrong token. I feel like that, you know, would probably like ruffle some feathers a little bit, because like I feel like I've heard really good things about the project. There's just, you got to keep a couple of things in perspective too. I have a lot of cryptocurrencies, like a lot of different cryptocurrencies. I'm not saying that I have a lot of crypto, like I'm not rich or anything. Like I'm just an average guy that dollar cost averages with his paycheck, right? So I'm not like flashy in any way. That being said, there's so many tokens to buy. And at some point, you know, like there is just too much. Ergo has done a huge amount. What rank are they? Rank 141. I'll bring up CoinMarketCap because I wasn't able to find it immediately in CoinGecko. The chart is up a lot right now. But again, I don't fully know what the project is completely. But I'm assuming it's something similar to what Cardano's doing. So yeah, it seems like they're going to like DeFi functionality and whatnot. So I'm not sure if they're looking to be like a similar player in terms of bringing finances to everyone, or if they're just looking for the DeFi aspect. But I'm assuming the protocol is good. So I've at least heard good things about the project, so there's nothing wrong with it. Now, can you mine it with GPUs, or how's it mined? Within the last 2 weeks, it's liquidity on ShibaSwap, not changing that. Oh, okay. So Vapor's saying that that token that we just looked at has been on ShibaSwap for the last few weeks and been traded, which kind of makes sense. Typically, sometimes they're launched within the DEX and then launched later on. Is that maybe what it is more so? Like, is Ergo like an Oracle type blockchain? Almost. We can take a look at energy, see if there's anything specific. Energy. And again, if I look at anything, I'm not endorsing any project right away or anything like that. Like, I'm just taking a look here. Now I'm gonna need help with which energy I'm looking at. So if you got a ticker, that'd be great. Wake and bake with coffee and crypto. That's it, man. That's completely it. It's 420 somewhere. Okay. Okay. So and like you're gonna get that a lot with like some projects, right? I definitely need to look way more into how it works. But I mean, you know, yeah, there's just a lot. There's just a lot of cryptocurrencies, and it's just like so much to buy into, so much to research and everything else. It's hard to like own everything, right? Because if you look at like where I am, I'm on PolkaSwap, I'm on, yeah, I think I like counted somewhere around north of like 34 tokens is what I'm currently sitting at right now. That's a lot of different tokens. A lot of different tokens and a lot of different wallets and exchanges just to keep track of everything. So it's been a pretty wild ride in terms of that, for sure. So let's we'll energy with an I. Okay, perfect. Let me take a look at that really quick. Okay. Is this like an AI play? Now, one thing we're looking at is number one, it's a low cap, right? There's gonna be a couple of things that you want to look at. We'll kind of talk about like how to determine if a project is good or not. Now, the market cap is low, which means that there's a lot of room for growth, but that doesn't always mean that we're going to grow. You need to be very cautious about which projects you're going to in the onset. That being said, let's take a look at some of their team. See if they have any LinkedIns or anything else. Yes, they do. So this looks like he's some sort of influencer in education in blockchain and cryptocurrency. I personally haven't heard of him, but he does have a LinkedIn, and he's the CEO. I don't know fully. Yeah, I'd have to take a deep dive into the team to really take a look. But it doesn't look like we have an extensive amount of experience. Like we have IT business consultant for several larger organizations like ExxonMobil, Verizon. He's not like a CTO of anything, right? And some of these people look like a little on the young side, but I don't want to discriminate based on age or anything else. You do have a low cap, so there's a lot to run up on, whether or not they're going to be able to increase and gain a market cap. So the things after that, you want to take a look at, obviously, the roadmap and the white paper and kind of dive deep a little bit into how everything's working, how the tokenomics work, and figure out exactly what is going on. That's interesting. I wonder what that is. Let's see what their roadmap is, at least. They've been going since 2017, which is at least a good sign. But they have Q3 and Q4 mapped out for tentative launches. So I'd like to see something a little bit more tangible at this point, but I could be missing something. What do I think about the action of the SEC? Yeah, so okay, let's talk about that. I think in a lot of ways, like the SEC, what the SEC are doing to cryptocurrency, what the regulators are doing to cryptocurrency is going to be a net bad. That being said, I want to like caveat with that. I think AML, anti-money laundering regulations, and KYC, and ATF, which is anti-terrorist funding. These are all important legislations to abide by. I work in insurance, so I know that business pretty well. And it's by law, like by Canadian law, and in the States too, by law, you need to know who you're doing business with. You need to know that they're not a criminal to the best of your ability. You need to know that their funds are legitimately gotten. They're not illegitimate funds from like drug money or laundering funds from fraud or whatever. So KYC and AML are incredibly important moving forward. So any changes to that direction are probably a good thing. That being said, a lot of what the regulators are doing is stifling growth because they don't understand the technology. So they add on a couple of different caveats because they see things happening and they think that they know how to regulate it because they've been regulating financial markets for years. Well, I would argue you've been regulating bullshit for years. You've been screwing over the economy. You've been generating a huge amount of value. So, you know, how much should we really trust the government? And I think that's where a lot of the lack of trust come through. I think in a lot of ways, the SEC is basically a mobster outfit in a government uniform. I truly believe that. In the last SEC lawsuits, like Elon Musk tweeting that Tesla stock was at 420, I'll give it to you. That is objectively close to manipulating the market. Objectively close. But the stock was at 418 or 19. Chill out. All you wanted to do was take a bite out of his ass. Now, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk at this point. I'm very open about that. That being said, what the SEC did there, that was a shakedown. That's all that was. And that's exactly the same with any other crypto that they've gone after, other than maybe some. You see some cryptocurrencies like Save the Kids and all these other crypto tokens that are just Ponzi's and just scams and just bullshit. But the SEC is asleep at the wheel. They give no shits. The FTC gives no shits. Nobody gives any shits about the actual investor, about the little guy. You and me, our regulators don't give a shit about us, right? They give a shit when they see money being made and they're not getting any. And that is a problem. That's why our regulators need to change. That's why the crypto industry is hurting in terms of regulation right now. Speaking of AI, the VXV coin I mentioned a few weeks ago had a good pump. Yeah, I mean, like AI is going to, so you got to be careful, right? And like this happened with .com too. Actually, if you guys look, did you guys hear about the what is it, the blood girl, that chick from Silicon Valley with the super deep voice, that basically like scammed everyone, saying that the blood lab machines that she was making could do every single blood test, fraction at a cost. All you got to do is buy this little black box. And of course it didn't work. But all she had to do was hype up that technology and you know, use buzzwords, and that's all it took. You really got to take everything very, very objectively. You got to look at everything. Now, AI is going to be a great play. VR is going to be a great play. Just make sure that whatever you're investing in, it's not vaporware. Vaporware is basically nothing, right? You're investing in a dream and buzzwords and bullshit, right? And you'll hear that. You'll hear that with a lot of cryptocurrencies, just throwing out buzzwords just so they look good, right? That being said, there are a lot of good projects out there. You just got to sift through all the crap. But you got to be very, very careful, though. Don't kind of look at the buzzwords and be like, oh yeah, they're immutable. They're an immutable token, deflationary in essence. I mean, there are 100 different deflationary tokens. That doesn't mean anything. What problem are they fundamentally solving? And do they actually have a product or are going to be in the market soon? Those are the questions that you should ask yourself. So if you look at something like Cardano objectively isn't in the market. It's objectively not in the hands of regular people that is trying to say, on a day-to-day doing transfers, but we see the progress to that point. We see the tangible progress. We understand where that is going, and we're making a speculation that they are going to at least achieve a little bit of what they're saying that they're going to achieve. That being said, Polkadot has a little bit more of a finalized product, and not finalized, but they have more of a product, being a little bit further ahead in the process, but still, they're not completely done. Ethereum has a going, living ecosystem, living product out in the wild right now, but it's still not done, right? And then Bitcoin, same kind of thing. It's just out in the wild. It is Bitcoin, and it always will be Bitcoin, and that's the beauty of Bitcoin. So that's kind of the differences between where we are in stages. Now, in 5 years, the landscape for cryptocurrency is going to look dramatically different to which tokens we use and which tokens are being used. And some of us are going to be right, and we're going to pick winners. And I'm sure that I have at least a dozen losers in my portfolio. I'm sure of that. I'm absolutely positive of that. But I'm also sure that out of my portfolio, at least one of them might be the Amazon. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, no worries, Martin. I think it's a hard discussion to have, especially with regulations, because I do agree with regulations. Like in the essence, you know, like I think regulations are good to protect investors, make sure that people are investing in scams. Because when you do have people that are clearly scamming because of vaporware or clearly making Ponzi schemes with crypto tokens, yeah, people need to be protected because some people fall for some of that stuff, and some of it's not easy to recognize. I remember back when I was young, like back when I was like, well, I say back when I was young. This is only like 8 years ago. Okay, so just put that in perspective. I'm 31 years old. I got roped in. A friend of mine asked me to join a party, to come over for a party for drinks and chips. You guys might already know what I'm going to say here, but it was for a pitch for Verve. And he tried to pitch me on getting Verve. I was gonna buy a case. I was legitimately gonna buy a case and sign up to this MLM until I like understood the economics of how that worked. And then I said no, thank you, no, thank you. What do I think of USDT? Okay, so here's what I think of USDT. So, there is a great video from CoffeeZilla going over what's happened with USDT, Tether, and everything else. Now, the same people that own Bitfinex own Tether. Back a couple of years ago, I want to say 2016, 2017, Bitfinex was belly up, basically going under. They didn't have enough money to facilitate their loans. They were insolvent, right? So in all essence of the word, Bitfinex should have gone under. But they had a cash infusion. They had a cash infusion from Tether. This is basically like a Federal Reserve that's not the Federal Reserve. And I mean, like, the Federal Reserve is no more federal than McDonald's, right? The Federal Reserve is not a government entity in any way, shape, or form. But I mean, like, Tether is no different, right? Tether's no different. And they basically have a printing press. When they had, it's not an audit, but it's just a peek to make sure that the money's there. When they had this peek, they basically, Bitfinex deposited money into their account. They had the peak, and then the money immediately moved out. They also issued what's in their treasury. And I think roughly 60% of their treasury, that number could be way off, so please excuse me, but it's something like, even if it's 30%, it's still a scary amount. So let's say 30% for the sake of not causing FUD. 30% of their treasury is debt. It's just loans. It's unsecured paper notes. So, at the end of the day, when you look at it, when you look at something like Tether, and you look at what's happening in the background and all this money being shifted to make it look like they have the money, and the CEO is constantly saying, dollars are all there, don't worry, dollars are all there, you start to realize, okay, the emperor might not have clothes, right? Like he might just, the emperor might not have clothes, and that's a big possibility. And if something like Tether does go down, if that does go down, if something like Tether does fall, the entire crypto market will feel that. The entire crypto market will feel something like that. Not saying that it's going to happen, but I am saying that it needs serious regulations from a lot of people, a lot of regulators, and this is our problem. This is directly our problem. This is, again, why I come back to the legislation and the regulation part. People say, like, why regulate? Open market. It's great to have, like, an open, free market. And yeah, I'm an open market kind of guy. I love open markets in terms of letting us trade what we want to trade. That being said, we still need regulations to make sure Bernie Madoffs don't come into existence. And if Tether could potentially crash the entire market, that is regulation worthy. That is worthy of regulation, because we can't have one bad actor kill an entire economic market. Now, would Tether ever kill cryptocurrency? No, absolutely not. And if it does go down, most likely what will happen is it'll be bought out by something that has the reserves, and I don't know. Who knows exactly what will happen? Hey, maybe Hank Paulson will come out with a bazooka just like 2008 and just cash infuse the shit out of Tether. Who knows? But yeah, USC is being used just like fiat, being printed just like fiat too. So yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. Kudex, there's a lot of dexes right now. I'm going to have to search that up on DeFi dexes. There's a lot of dexes right now. And the one thing that you should pay attention to dexes. Now, I'm right now, I'm mainly on here. We'll pull up the actual platform. I'm mainly on, I would say, PokeSwap is my number one dex right now. And once Flare is going to be coming out, then I'll be on Flare as well. But hold on, what is this KuCoin? This KuCoin. So I use KuCoin. KuCoin's one of my exchanges. Now, it's not my favorite exchange. That being said, it consistently has any token that I'm looking for. So it could be good. I wonder what base chain they're working off of here. Or is this their own chain? That's interesting. I'd be interested in using it, but at the same time, I probably wouldn't like put a dramatic amount of my tokens here, because KuCoin, like, again, they value just having a crap ton of tokens. There could be some rug pulls in the tokens, so you got to be careful of which tokens you're actually providing. But some of these LP pools are actually pretty huge, but often, and people wonder, okay, why am I getting such a high APY on some of these pools? You're going to get a high APY the smaller that pool is. So right now, this looks pretty new. I'm assuming this is really new. So the APRs are high right now, but eventually they'll kind of die down a little bit. You do need to be cautious, though, when you do see a high APR and be like, okay, like, why is it that much, right? Like, I probably wouldn't be investing in KuKitty anytime soon. But doing a KuCoin or Bitcoin in USD, the reason why it's at 252% is mainly, one, they want to send out the QUD token, and two, there's not a lot of liquidity in that area. What's interesting is this kind of looks like the BSC with a lot of like their interface. So I'd be interested to know if this is another like Ethereum BSC clone kind of thing. I mean, like, BSC is a clone of Ethereum, so I don't want to say that this is a clone of BSC, because, I mean, cloning a clone, what is a clone of a clone? Yeah, since August. So this has been out since August 5th. Yeah, I mean, like I think we're gonna see more of this, right? And not just KuCoin. Like we have Binance, now we have the KuDex. We're probably going to see more of this. I would like to see like Bitrue doing something on Flare when that's out. That'd be nice to see. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of central dexes, central exchanges that make a complementary dex that that can work with it. And that's also good with like being able to go on Binance and Bridge, and you can kind of do the same thing here. So I guess too, for a lot of our Ontario users that are now getting kicked off Binance and the BSC, I mean, this could be a viable option. KuCoin's a big name in the space, so it's not like they're small time. I would just, again, I'd be very cautious about which liquidity pairs you're providing in, because some tokens you'll find are rug pulls and scams. So you really got to be careful, because KuCoin just adds on a lot of different tokens. So you just got to be aware of that. Which exchange do I use from Ontario? It depends, but my main exchange I would say right now is Kraken. Kraken, of course, is legislated in, I think they're a bank in Wyoming, I believe. And then I use Newton as my onboarding, Newton ShakePay as my onboarding, Kraken for any trades on altcoins that I don't have. Then I have KuCoin for any altcoins that I can't find on Kraken for any reason. And I think that's it. Sorry, I also use Bitrue as well. So it's about finding which ones are right. I think definitely Kraken's probably your way to go. How's it going, Riley? Any price predictions on a token like that? We could take a look at the token. I'm assuming that it's going to be so new right now that I won't be able to give you like a really good estimate. But we'll take a look at the total supply. So 100 billion tokens, which isn't actually like, it's not actually that much. Like 100 billion sounds like a lot. I mean, like the price is going to be in the cents, of course, but it's not that much. Like in the grand scheme of things. Now, where could it go realistically? Yeah, having a price point in this decimal period is going to be a little bit low. So let's talk about market cap. I'll give you a market cap, and then you can do your math with the circulating supply, or I can do that at the end. Looking at market cap right now, like we have a low rank, 1532, which is really, really low. Am I looking at the right token? I just want to make sure. Yeah, Kubo. So if we look at dexes, like where could this go? Now, I don't think, like, I'm going to be honest, I don't think that this is like BSC level. I don't think it's going to reach what PancakeSwap is. But KuCoin is a known name and it's a trusted name. So where could it realistically go? And could it hit a, hold on, where are my DEX tokens? Okay, here we go. DeFi. That's right. So looking at our DeFi tokens, and we can kind of look at the DEX tokens, like we have PancakeSwap sitting at $20 with a $4.3 billion market value. So the current value. But where could it go? Now we see the lower end goes into the 500 millions on the 30 rank 30s. We have Kava at about 500 million. If we go a little bit further down, we could see maybe like Band Protocol at 300, Orion at 265 million. So these are objectively 100x from where we are. So if we can see maybe KuCoin's platform go up similarly to a lot of these profiles, and let's say that it even just reaches the top 100 and meets Beefy Finance. 2 million to 93 million is a huge increase, like massive. So that's 246. I think that's like a way more than, yeah. So what is that, like a 5? Yeah, I can't do math right now, but you get my point. So let's say hypothetically right now, okay, and this big hypothetical, but let's say hypothetically it reaches that one, let's say 50 million. Okay, we're going to be very conservative. 50 million. And then we times that by the current circulating supply, which is 88 billion, 682, 815, 369. And I don't know if these tokenomics are completely correct. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, I don't have an exact price because it goes into my exponents. So, but it'll at least jump up a couple of decimal places, so that'll increase. But right now you're just looking at such a small cap, so there is so much upside. And if it is like supported by KuCoin, you know, I mean that's obviously going to be good. But yo, how's it going, Manny? How's things? So I will go right back into the charts. Also, drop a like. There's 15 people watching the stream. 11 likes. I really appreciate that, though. I haven't had to say that that much. So awesome. We'll take a look at some of the market right now. Cardano is still sitting at our $2.20. And again, I've said that Cardano could reach back up to that $2.40, that all-time high. $2.50 looks like was our all-time high. So I do think that we're going to reach back up there. In short order. Like, I think that's happening. I think it's going to happen maybe by the end of the weekend, maybe early next week. And once we get up there, we'll probably do similar stuff. Like if we look at how Cardano's moved in the past, Cardano typically will jump over a ridge and then it'll hold some value at some low rate. So it might jump up here and then just hold for a little while and just trade level. And people will get bored and people will say shit token and people say, oh, it's vaporware and it's just a wallet coin. And then it'll go back up. And then people will say the same thing. And on and on and on it'll go and the cycle continues. And that's how Cardano moves. So yeah, so I'm hugely bullish on PSwap, right? Like I use PSwap a lot. We'll take a look at that. PSwap just went through a couple of different updates. So they recently added in dark mode and fiat values in the testnet. So it's not currently live, but it is going to be live. So eventually you'll be able to see the dollar amount. If you didn't see that, go check out my last video for PSwap. I show all of that in the dark mode, so you can take a look at that there. Now I'm equally bullish on exactly what you said, Crypto All-Star. Val, PSwap, and Zor are the three most bullish tokens that I'm in right now for Substrate and everything else. I'd probably say right now what I have in PSwap is fairly large for being on one DeFi platform, but I'm also bullish on where this is going to go. Like I'm bullish on the PSwap platform. I mean Substrate as well. You have other DeFi applications coming out like Corora for the KSM network. That I'm probably going to be providing liquidity on. And then you have Akala that's going to be on Polkadot once the parachains are auctioned off there. So there's more than just PokeSwap out there, and I'm not a maximalist in any way, but in terms of other DeFi tokens, I'm not in many other DeFi plays. I'm just purely at this point in PokeSwap just because of where this system is going to go. The rewards have been fixed as well, so now again we're seeing our rewards. Now again, this isn't the vested rewards, these are just the fees on the liquidity pools, but at least we have those rewards back up. But I would say between these tokens, I'd probably say these are the most bullish tokens, which is the Zor, Val, and PSwap token. And obviously I'm providing all three on liquidity and a little bit of Zor and DAI because that's the highest volume within the DEX. I want the DEX to do well. I get more fees from the actual trading volume on it. So I'm happy to provide a little bit of Zor and DAI as well. But in terms of XRP, going back to XRP, because a lot of people, shit on XRP a lot, and XRP is my #1 holding for a lot of reasons. I'm really bullish on where it can go. Now people have asked, like, okay, why XRP specifically? And I'm looking at how the financial legacy system works right now, how we trade stocks and derivatives, options calls, like mortgage packaged bonds and everything else. You think about the global financial world and what happened in 2008 and everything. And just think about the mass amount of financial services that are out there. The derivative market is $1.8 quadrillion, and that's not hyperbole. That is like an actual estimate number. I say estimate because nobody actually goddamn knows how much the derivatives market is worth. But XRP is the one token, in my opinion, that's actually poising itself to take hold of some of that derivative market. We're talking about $1.8 quadrillion, a huge amount of money. This is how Bill Gates makes his money, is all on derivatives, all on this market. This is the shadow banking market that happens. So the derivative market is huge, is exactly why I would say, building on there. KSM CAR LP and KUSD and KSM LPs are live on Aurora now. Interesting. I had no idea. I will take a look at that because I had no idea. So let's actually take a look at that, because I know Parachain went live, but I wasn't like following Aurora as much as I should have been. That's definitely for sure. I'm assuming I just get directed to. Yeah, okay, so let's just bring this over here. We have our app, and there we go. So this is the new KSM Parachain auction, where obviously you can sign in with your Polkadot.js extension. I'll probably make another wallet specifically for Aurora. And then let's see their liquidity pool. So yeah, they have their liquidity pool currently. Yeah, interesting. I had no idea that that everything was working and ready to go. So that's interesting. I'm probably going to shift my KSM over here and start providing liquidity. So really cool. What exactly are derivatives? That's a good question. That's a very good question. I would argue that most people don't know what a derivative is. I barely know what a derivative is. I'm actually going to get you derivative. The reason why I'm getting you a definition is not because I don't know how to describe it. It's because it's so broad. So a derivative is a type of contract based on an underlying asset, right? So it's like a bet of like, I'm betting that this person's going to default on their loan, or I'm betting that this house is going to go up in value. I'm long on this, right? So I'm long on Bitcoin, for example. I think in this time it's going to go higher. It's like options, contracts, puts, calls. There's so much in derivatives, right? There's so much. Like if we look at key takeaways, so futures, contracts, forward contracts, options, swaps, warrants are commonly used as derivatives. Derivatives can be used to mitigate risk, like hedging. Think back 2008 financial crisis. If you've ever watched, and if you haven't watched this, The Big Short with Steve Carell. Great movie. One of my favorite financial movies of all time. Describes exactly what happened back then with Hank Paulson and like how like the market just crashed based on packaged mortgage bonds, which were just a bunch of packaged mortgages that were, really, really low FICO scores, but packaged as AAA mortgage bonds in this mortgage structure, in this big scheme that the banks were playing. That's part of the derivative market. That's like one small aspect of the derivative market. Now, the derivative market is $1.8 quadrillion. I think I saw the number. The derivative market represents like a crazy amount more than the underlying assets. So again, going back to the definition, when it's based on an agreed upon underlying financial asset, like a security, so it's based on that underlying asset, the whole derivative market is worth more than the underlying assets that the contracts are on. Think about that for a second. Think about that, and then your mind just exploded, and then you realize, holy shit, we're literally on the edge of a financial collapse if something happens to the derivative market. Literally, it would be, it's essentially gambling. You're not wrong. We are gambling with our financial structure, though. That's the scary part. So Yeah, I love your comment. Wow, that's what a derivative is. No wonder the global economy went up in tits. Yeah, it's incredible what derivatives. I mean, like whew. And they purposefully make this confusing, right? Derivatives are not easy to understand. It took me a lot of reading just to understand it, right? And like, I mean, like some things that are easy to get, right? Future contracts, okay, you've heard of that a couple of times. Equity options, okay, I mean, like stocks, yeah, that makes sense. And then you have your options, over counter transactions, and then it goes into like a slew of other stuff, and some of it is basically betting, some of it is just betting. But think of like GME, like GameStop. What happened there? Everyone shorting GameStop and then going long GameStop, or just buying GameStop. Well, just buying GameStop wouldn't be a derivative. Shorting GameStop would be the derivative, the like the option on it. But so there's a lot to it. There's a lot to what a derivative is, but essentially it is gambling on an underlying asset. Is essentially what it is. So it's scary, but like, you know, 1 to 2 quadrillion dollars is huge, like that's massive. And if this market, because this market can't die, $2 quadrillion can't just dissipate into nothing. As much as you think it should, it can't. It probably won't, and it'll probably be onboarded onto the blockchain in some way, shape, or form. And I personally believe, and like this is speculation, again, not a financial advisor or anything, I believe XRP, with the financial or the regulatory framework that they're trying to build, they're trying to be regulatory compliant, they're working with the IMF and a bunch of other big central, like global financial entities. I think XRP poises themselves perfectly to take hold of a fraction, tiny fraction of the derivative market. But a tiny fraction is huge. A tiny fraction is more than the GDP of the United States and China combined, right? Crazy. So derivative market is massive. And I think even the GDP from China and the States, it like dwarfs in comparison to maybe like what would it be, like a quarter of the derivative market. Like what is the GDP right now? I don't know what the GDP is for China, but do you know why only worth 59? Yeah, I don't know. And again, if it's a low cap, you got to be worried about it, right? Or not worried about it, but you got to be careful. O1T, we can take a look. Only one token. Yeah, so rank low, and then we have again our market cap is below 3 million. Or no, that's volume. We don't actually have our market cap. 24-hour volume is only 9,000. So to be honest, I would probably stay away from it, but that's my opinion. You know, if you've done your research and you like it, then great. But you know, just because of the low circulating supply, or it looks like the total circulating supply is one token. But I don't know how correct that is, because that would essentially mean the market cap is the token, right? So whatever the token is worth is the market cap. So maybe that's our market cap, I guess, which is $2.7 million because it's one token. I guess that makes sense. Wow. Oh man. Okay. So I just run through a brain fart. Either way, I would probably, probably wouldn't be something that I'm investing in personally. I see a lot of these as like, like if you look at the only one token, where's it gonna go? Bitcoin, Lambo, Penthouse, like that's the roadmap. I mean, like it's a meme. So I invest at your own risk, I guess. I'm not putting any money in personally. But that's my perception on where we're going. But yeah, I mean, like when you look at where we are with like the financial structure, you start to realize how precarious of a situation we are. And we'll end the live stream on this discussion, right? And crypto is up, but the DXY is down, right? The dollar is down. Again, the real Ponzi scheme is right here. This is the real Ponzi, the United States dollar and any other fiat currencies that you could possibly have. But at the end of the day, when you see the derivative market, when you see where we are in such a precarious situation that we are in, we aren't producing M2 reports. So we have no idea what the inflation costs are of what we're doing. We have politicians being encouraged right now, like borrow more, print more, spend more. As much as I agree, and I think the majority of people, and I'm not American, so keep that in mind. My opinions only matter as much as a non-American would matter for American politics. But I think most people probably agree with some sort of infrastructure bill. I think what people would disagree is the flagrant spending of money. You know what I mean? So I think people just need to be a little bit careful there. But yeah, with the USD, we're on this death march. I truly believe that. Back in with the Treaty of Versailles and Germany, essentially what happened there is Germany had a metal shortage, so they weren't able to actually mint like coins, right? They weren't able to make metal coins, so they told every little village, hey, print your own paper marks. And in Germany, it went, one paper mark was worth one metal mark. And in a matter of 2 to 3 years, 1 million paper marks, I think that's right. I could be wrong. 1 million paper marks were worth one metal mark. And that's the cost of inflation. If you look at something like Venezuela, Venezuela had the best stock market of all time. And it was fantastic, huge gains right after that hyperinflation crash, because the hyperinflation caused the market to increase. The hyperinflation caused those prices to go up. We're in a time right now where it is costing more and more to live, and you're not getting paid any more money. And that is because the government is printing more money. Inflation is a taxation on the people without you noticing it, right? And it'll slowly creep. And just like any other creep, if you play a video game or anything, you understand the idea of power creep, that over time you get more and more powerful as you play, as you do something. That's exactly what's happening with inflation. And we get that creep, that over time, subtly, not apparent to us, we get that creep where it's getting harder and harder for us to generate wealth and live within society and make a good amount of money. So it's a weird position that we live in right now with the global financial structure. I don't know where it'll go. Maybe I'm just Chicken Little at this point. Like I haven't seen anything dramatic in my lifetime other than 2008 and what happened before then. But I was born after the 80s crash and everything. So yeah, I haven't been through any serious economic downtimes, but I've looked into other downtimes. Right before the Great Depression in the United States, basically the stock market was at the best it ever could be. Everyone was buying stocks because you couldn't lose in the stock market. It was only ever going to go up. So yeah, well, going to that page, interesting. Okay, so let me get that for you. Bear with me here. I'm going to go ahead and pull a fresh one from my Celsius right now, and I'll drop it in chat. So if anyone is interested, right now you can earn $50 with Celsius if you use my promo code. So if you deposit, I can't remember exactly how much they're depositing because I know before it was $400 when they had $40 deposits. I'm wondering if it is $50 now, but I'm not quite sure. No, okay, so you'll get $50 in Bitcoin. I get 52, so keep that in mind. You're supporting the channel as well. If you deposit $400 and keep it there within a month. And then, of course, you can move it after, but, I mean, you're getting the best rates out of Celsius, right? So let me just punch that in. Bear with me here. Okay, live. All right. I'll make sure that I'm muted. Of course, I get an advertisement for, it looks like Ivan on Tech. Interesting. So if you take a look at that promo code, you can also check in the description down below. There should be a link as well. I was told by Celsius the link was fixed, but I don't know. Some people have troubles with the link. So I'm not sure. If you already make an account, natural, like if you've made an account, that's fine. Go in and use that promo code within the promo code. So all you need to do is go into Celsius, go to your profile, and then hit promo code, and then it should give you a field to enter that. And then you're able to go ahead and enter that promo code and get that reward. I'd also just keep an eye on the live stream because they're constantly doing like, $25 to drop in more money, to put more money. I have like crypto all over the place on a bunch of different platforms. So if I ever see a promo code from Celsius, I punch it in and move some crypto into the Celsius platform. Thanks, Streetcoin. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Christmas is still a good couple months away, but I appreciate that as well. Thank you for joining the live stream. No worries, Natural. Just let me know if you have any more trouble. I guess I'll have to reach out to Celsius again. I'm not sure why their link isn't working. I know some people it works, but like you're not the first person that has reached out to me and said that you've had those issues. But that should at least fix it. And if that doesn't, you can always contact Celsius directly as well and provide them that promo code, and they should be able to at least credit the $50 Bitcoin to your account. That's it for me, guys. We will go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you very much for another successful Saturday morning Crypto and Coffee. We will continue this again, obviously, next Saturday, and keep in mind that there will be more crypto content through the week. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and all that fun jazz, and have a good weekend, guys.